This is a Number Dragons app, and I'm going to show you how to use it. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into the game a little bit. And I'll go ahead and create a new game. In the new game, I can have multiple levels. There's a 4x4, 5x5, 6x6, 7x7, 7x8, 7x9, 7x10. 4x4 is this level here. And it's the easiest level to play. You have undos, so that as you go through the game, you can go ahead and start heading towards your next goal number. You start out with 1 and you end up with 16 for the 4x4. And there's some hints given along the way, but you have to actually get to each of the individual hints in the appropriate order. So sometimes you start doing things properly and you sort of get mixed up and it's out of order. So you can undo that, go back and do a proper path. And then you can win. That's pretty cool. It tells you how many games you're into the set. There's 20 games to make a full set. I've got 7 games into the set. This last game I scored 1186. Undos cost you points. You can also peek. At the end of the game you can peek and it doesn't cost you any points because that lets you see if you did it the same way the computer did it. And when I peek, I didn't do it quite the same way the computer did it. And if I did, a little gold thing will come up and say, I completely agree, because the AI generates this board for each of the sets. That's a neat thing about this game is that it doesn't have a small set of grids pre-done. You can ask for a new game and 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 a new game, and the AI will just generate new paths for you. It really is unique. And that you can do that. Also, if you solve the game using a slightly different path, like I did, than the computer, it still knows you didn't break any rules, so it's a valid solution. It may not be the computer's solution, but it's okay with that. So I really like the peek feature because, especially if you're in the game at the very beginning. Now that peek feature, if you're in the game for the very beginning and you use it, it'll cost you 50% of your score, but at least you still have a score at the end of the game. So if you go ahead and still solve the puzzle, you don't get as many points, but you get some points. You can also go to the rules, and the rules will tell you exactly how the scoring is done and what's taken out and what's left in. You also get a time bonus. If you're very quick in going through the game, I don't know if I can do that or not. Let's try that. See, I get a time bonus because I did it very quickly. There's little animations that occur from time to time, but that's how the main play goes. Now, there's multiple games. Now, calculating the score for a little bigger grid, which is a 5x5, is still very fast and very quick. And if I ask for new games, you can see it calculates those very quickly and easily. The game plays exactly the same. You can always use the peek to see how the computer is solved. You can look at it and then you have to eventually turn it off and then go do it yourself, and that will cost you just 50% of your score. So it's a nice way when you're first starting out. I recommend when you go through the games, solve a lot of 4x4s before you go on to 5x5, 6x6s, and so on. Now 6x6 is still quite easy for the computer to solve, and so new games is quite easy for it to do. But as you go up, 7x7 is a little harder. And you may have seen that little infinity dragon going through here and showing you that this computer was doing something, was generating this game. When I ask for a new game, I'll go on a little further and I'll show you. If I go to the 7x10, when I ask for a new game, sometimes it takes quite a while for the new grid to come up. That's because your processor might be running at a little slower speed. Also, because it's an AI that generates this, AIs do not have a completely sameness about their generation. Sometimes it takes them a short time to solve the problem. Sometimes it takes them a long time to solve the problem. The problem is based upon it randomly chooses the first number location, then the last number location, and then it will go in and find a solution to this. Now once it finds a solution, it knows that one solution is possible, and then it will go ahead and let you play the game, and you may come up with a completely different solution. As I said, the computer is perfectly okay with that. So let's go back, and let me go back into the 10x10. And if you do a peek in here, you can see the 10x10 is very challenging. The other thing I like about this game is 4x4 First of all, you don't have a second screen or a second keypad that has to come up every time. You don't have to type in 11, 1, 1 and then hit where you want it, or 1, 2 and hit where you want it. It knows that the next one you should follow is 4. And this may seem limiting, but it really isn't. The easiest way, the most strategic way to solve the problem is to start from your next necessary square and then continue on. Believe me, I have solved a number of these games, and that's what happens. This is 7, 8, so that's good. Here's my 9, 10. That worked out pretty good. The 4x4 seems quite easy. There's a couple of times the computer will throw you some curves in how it did things. Let's go see how it did versus see, we did a little different than a computer did, but that's okay. It'll throw you some curves as to how you necessarily have to go through here. But the stronger challenges do occur in the 5x5 and the 6x6. And you can see the background images change. There's different animations that come up on the screen. They're not always going to be the same. 7x7. You can see the computer's having to work a little harder. So in that particular case, the background infinity sign sort of came up. Here's a 7x8. And that worked out pretty good. In the 7x8, I can ask, if you don't like this grid when you first come in here, you can ask for a new game. That doesn't cost you any points. It says fine. You want to use a different one, that's just fine. It's just okay with that. Same thing with a 10x10. If you're in here and you don't like that 70 is here and 1 is here, you can ask for a new game and it'll give you a new game. And so that's another good strategy for doing well in the game. Doing well in a game, what's that all about? Let's go back. This shows you how to play the game. And if you've never played the game before, this can be a good place to go. It says to win, you must fill the grid with consecutive numbers that connect horizontally, vertically, or diagonally. And that's what's possible. And then you can come down here and ask the computer, hey, show me how to play. And the computer will play a game for you. It's doing it slow because your users may be, or players may be younger, or they've never played it before and they want to see it. And you can click this again, it'll play the game again and again and again for you, but one time might have been enough. And then we go on. And then score history. If you played a set of 20, like I did here, score after 20 games, if you played a set of 20, you want to keep the history of that so you can know the next time you play a set of 20, did I do better? Did I do worse? What's going on there? So this gives you the date that last 20 was set, and then it tells you the score that you got though for the last 20. Right now I've played 10 games and it keeps track of that. And if I go into high score legends, goes out on the internet and looks at all the people playing the game and finds out who the high scores out here. It only keeps the top 5. Now since the game is just starting up, it's been reset. We only have one player coming in here, Ken, and this was the score he has. Now I've already outscored him, so I haven't finished my set though. If I go back here, I still have several more games to set. Now if you look in here, I don't want to hide anything. This goes and finds the highest score here, which is 3,296. And 3,296 is bigger than this. It should be in high score, but it's not in higher score because I don't currently have internet. Now, if I did have internet, what would happen is, and I didn't have internet when the game was up and everything was fine. If I didn't have internet and then all of a sudden I came back in here, it would find the highest score, which is 3,296, and it would put that in here. It would ask me for my name and it would put that in here. It's not doing it now because I don't physically have internet on this system right now, but that's how that works. And the legends are all the people playing this game all over the world, and you can see who the high scorers are. Now your chances of being high score aren't really that great. I mean, it's nice when the game first starts up, but as further on, there's going to be so many people coming in here, you might have to play really well to become a high score legend. And I'm thinking about that. We may actually do a thing where we do high score legends for a month, but right now it's just everyone, and we'll see how that goes. On the website for all games, you can also click on that, and that'll show you what the high scores are. But that's how you play the game. On the main screen, you can also turn off music and sounds if you don't really want the music and sounds. Okay, I'll go back and turn that back on. Come in here. There's a background music showing Lucia Ho. She's playing the piano. This has the rules again, and you can go ahead and read through the rules, which will tell you how scoring is done and how you score time bonuses and how you can do peak and what that costs you. If you click on Reset History, this resets all of your history. All of the scores are gone. They're all lost. Everything's reset back to 0. You might want to do this after you played the game a number of times. You just want to start from scratch. You can go ahead and just click reset your history. Or if you want someone else to play, say your husband or wife or whoever you might have who's visiting, you can have them just start from scratch. And if the game is yours, you do what you want with it. And I hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed programming it, and I hope this is a great app for you. It really is a good app. I was very careful to look at the other apps that have similar games, and by far this app is the easiest, fastest to work through and use. And I've taken a lot of pains to make sure that the score history and the high score legends is properly done. And if you're offline, you're backpacking somewhere and you score a really great score, later on when you come back in here and you look into high scores, the computer will go ahead and put your score in here. Or if you finish a set, it'll look at all your high scores. It'll take the highest high score you have and it will put that in Legends if it deserves to be in Legends. So enjoy the game and have a good day.